ArcGIS for Desktop 10.2, a new tool has been introduced inside your ArcGIS for Desktop. So you have a new City Engine toolset, which has the first tool of exporting a complete scene document as a web scene. Now web scene can be shared with other users through ArcGIS Online. The new tools also incorporate intervisibility tool, which ignores the obstacles in the line of sight. So one tool which I'd like to demonstrate here is line of sight or sight lines tools. So here what I have taken along with my 2D input is the 3D models which I have created using City Engine. So if I don't use City Engine, what I get is a simple 2D data, which before using City Engine, users need to extrude the data. So it would give you information in a similar manner. With City Engine, it would give you more functionality to actually use the textures and give it a more realistic picture. So what users could also do is they could set up an observation point or observer point, and then they would visualize that what would be the effect of a sight of a line of sight or sight lines. So the tool which I'm going to execute right now is sight lines. So users can make use of search functionality so that they could search for tools quite easily. So this would actually search through various different tools and give you input. So you could construct a line of sight, or you could create a skyline. So here I'm going to construct sight lines. So sight lines, it takes input parameter as an observer point. These observer points can be placed on top of a building or can be placed right at the street level. On top of the building, in case of visualization, if there is a parade route, so they could identify which are the features or obstacles within my site. So input, if I give observer point and the target feature, if I have selected a couple of buildings, so I can create sight lines. These sight lines give a clear picture. If there is any obstacle, it would block them. So I would create a new feature for sight lines. So as you could see, the tool would also ask you about the elevation information. So if you are using ArcGlobe application, you could provide the elevation right in your attribute table. Or if you are using the City Engine model, it would be coming along with your elevation information. So here is I could provide elevation information in terms of height and the shape value. So as I execute the tool, it would create a sight line for me, and I would just quickly showcase you that. I would switch on my models which I created in City Engine again, or I could switch off the models which I am using for sight lines. So here, as you see, I have selected a couple of buildings here along with a line. So it would give users the information that which particular point can see up to the different points. So this was one of the example of using your 3D textures or 3D models to perform further 3D analysis. Now the new tool which has come up with ArcGIS for Desktop 10.2 is you could export a web scene using ArcGlobe or ArcScene applications. So prior to 10.2, using version 10.1, you had to publish a web scene only through City Engine. Now ArcGIS would give you a more, you could say, powerful tool of publishing a web scene using the ArcGIS desktop itself. So the next tool which we would search is about web scenes. So this is, once you have opened up the data in ArcGIS desktop, you're performing analysis such as 3D analysis or just identifying line of sight or even the shadow analysis. Once you are done, you could save it back your scene document, and the same document you could share it as a web scene. So you could give input document as a scene, and once you prepare a web scene out of that. So what I had done is you have to log in inside your ArcGIS online account. In your My Content, it would open up a web scene for you. Now this web scene you could view it as an application or you could download it. You have a further control over your web scenes is you could restrict the sharing, so you could share it with your groups or with your colleagues. So one example of a web scene here is I had selected a few models of say Mumbai area. So this opens up in a simple browser such as Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. So it does not require any additional plugins to be installed. So you could select your models and you could export them to web scenes again. Now inside a web scene, you get an option to switch on or switch off the layers as we do in ArcGIS for desktop. You could search for the layers or search for the information. So for example, I select any of the layer or a building, it would throw me up a information more which is stored inside the attribute table. So once we create the data in 2D itself, so attribute table which is having information would be retrieved straight by City Engine, and it would be also retrieved by the web scenes. Same thing could be done for your road network or even for your street furniture or other information. So what users could do is they require simple things that as buildings, or you could say a feature which gives you building extrusions, and the second feature is they require a network which we would create a road network. Apart from that, City Engine would support importing various digital elevation models and images which could be used as base maps. Now what I could do is I could perform analysis for shadow on this particular selected buildings. So I select my time zone for India, GMT plus 5. I could select it for December. And I could see on the time slider view itself. So what would be the effect of shadows on my particular buildings? So this would be useful for users or you could say planners who are planning for buildings, and they could see what would be the effect. Also, they can go for glance or shadow analysis with further use. So I could share this, or I could put some comments on this. So I put a comment, say for example, okay, or I could sign in with my ArcGIS account and I could share it with ArcGIS Online through my groups. So this was more telling about 3D Analyst, what are the new functions, and using City Engine with ArcGIS for Desktop 10.2. Thank you.
Thanks, Vishal. So isn't it not interesting? You have a 3D scene done on ArcScene, put it onto your web as an ArcScene without any software there. So you can now visualize all your 3D drawings onto the web, and you can do of their parallel activity. You don't require any kind of viewer onto there on the other end or software to visualize those 3D things. So coming down to the next enhancement onto their ArcGIS server. Yes, you all know, like from 10.1 we are fully 64-bit. It's got 64-bit compatible. And that's how WebGIS has been starting Transformer and everything, and now WebGIS has grown so big that everything has started getting integrated with that. So one thing now, which has at 10.2, what we have done is now we know that we can publish to a server. We have been publishing to ArcGIS Online. Now looking at the customer need, especially when you look to our region of India, there are a lot of government bodies who are using GIS and they can't be able to put down onto a public cloud. And that's where we introduce this to the portal. Now you can create your own portal within your firewall, and now ArcGIS Desktop can publish these services to the portal. And your organization, entire organization can make use of this particular facility. And this is the new introduction at this thing, that looking detail about what is ArcGIS for portal. This is now comes to you only with ArcGIS Server Advanced Enterprise. The portal is being provided to you. Anybody who has a license for Advanced Enterprise on version of 10.2 can get a complimentary 5-user pack for portal for a year, wherein you can make use of that. For 5-user, you experience it, you start utilizing of that, and then you can see how you can expand it to any number of users further. That's how it can be made useful for. That's how we are trying to help you out by providing this as a pack, as a complimentary pack to all our users. So then comes a lot of questions. So what is online? What is cloud? What is portal? If there is any kind of confusion, this slide should clear off. But this is a straight away comparison within the ArcGIS Online, the portal of ArcGIS. It includes all those functionalities what you're talking on ArcGIS Online. It constitutes of administrative tools, application templates. The only thing what it doesn't have is an optional product as history hosted maps or Bing Maps, because you may have to, if you are very stringent, I don't want to connect to internet at all, then still we have an optional solution for you, which I will be coming up. And what is not possible is you can't straight away go on to any of the user contributed items or resource centers because they come from the public cloud environment. You have to live with your own content. So in very crisp and crisp, what the portal for ArcGIS can do, it can do your search and access within your organizational. So you can host in your data, maps, apps, any models or any other geo content. Similarly, the contributing groups can upload and style that, the geographic data. You can interact, you can embed it, and the best part being, you can do your enterprise user management with this. You have LDAP, you have an Active Directory, the entire thing can be absorbed onto the portal. The similar application, if you would have to develop it, it would have taken 40 to 45 days of development. That's where it's so tightly integrated and so powerful. And this actually has helped you in federating all your servers with a single sign-on. And this, in turn, can act you like you have multiple servers in your organization. Use portal. Federate them to this portal. And there you can allow each of those groups to publish to that any of the particular servers. And indirectly, it can act also like a load balancer if you can configure. That's the powerness of portal. You should experience it. Probably the demo which I can show you, which is upcoming now, you can give it. The difference when you come into the implementation patterns, one is what we are looking is a private cloud. So there is no external dependencies. You have on-premise portal, content, base maps, everything can be within your own firewall. And through this, you can drive all your services. The other one is you can even think of a hybrid, wherein the online content and base maps come from online, rest everything can be yours. So only the content you allow it to come from outside. That's the two different implementation patterns. So depending upon your organizational needs, you can plan for this. And then the best part being the securing the portal, wherein that's what I told you, you can the integration with your LDAP and Active Directory security can be straight away in it, and the user management has been so tightly built that you will excite to see this and can take care of that. And for the people who don't want to connect to net at all, we can give the entire imagery, street maps, topographic, and other content which you are seeing on through our online can be bundled and given to you as a one single hardware. We call it as data appliance. This RGS data appliance contains everything what you are seeing on the content onto our RGS platform. And you can consume the same services. On a subsequent time, as and when updates are released, you are informed. You can disconnect this data appliance from your server and get your updates done, possibly on any downtime period. So that's the kind of advantage you have, and you can make use of this. So let's look at a quick demo from portal, how strong the portal is, how the user management configuration and everything behind your network can be handled. Over to Shashi.
Thank you, Krishna. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, this is the interface that you are going to see in portal for ArcGIS. When a person just hits the URL, he will see this page. You can control this page through various menus available within the server. As an administrator, I will log in, I will start giving the information. Once you log in, we will be having the first screen to open is user management, wherein the organizations, all of your organizations users are available. Here, you can assign a user as an administrator, publisher, or a simple user. Or if you want to remove a user, you can just click remove and you can remove it. Or if you want to control the content, that some users you don't want to allow them to give the permission to use the data, that all you can do it through content. And just this is how it looks, the total content available in this as a administrator. This I can control through various menus. And once again, I am going back to my organization. Here I can edit the settings, how my portal interface should look for the users. These are the general information. Just as if I want to change my logo, I can just change it. If I want to change my home page, how it should look in a different style, I can do it. And maps and galleries, how it should look, I can change it. And I can manage the groups through here. And this is quite important, utility services. And if you are having many services, ArcGIS servers, and if you want to make all of your users to use a particular printing template in your organization, that you can make it through here. Here I am making them to use my particular printing services. So all the templates created within my organization for printing a map is stored centrally, and they can use it for creating the maps. And geocoding services, if it is set up within the organization, that I can provide, or geometry services like buffer calculation and other things, they can use particular geometry services. And this is where we are doing the federating the servers. You might have heard a lot about federating the servers and hosting servers. Federating servers means you can take the servers available or installed within the organizations and connect it through portal, means all of your servers security is managed through portal. And hosting server is the place where users publish through web or through their MS Office for ESRI Office for Maps. Through there, they can publish it to hosted server, and hosting server will contain all those data sets. And this is where the security means that you want to allow it to anonymous users or no. And then how once I create the content or a maps, how I want to share that data with other users or the groups managed by individual administrators. Then for example, I have a data development team, those who are working within as a team, and I want to invite someone in my organization to join that group. Just I can go and invite the users, say some users say Vishal, I am inviting him, just say sign and send an invitation. So the user once he logs in here, in his account, that invitation notification will come over here. You have been invited to join the data development team. He can go to his particular group and accept the invitation or reject it. Once he says join the group, he is become the part of that group and he can start contributing to that group. Means whole content, GIS content is managed through groups or through portal. For example, once a user joins into a portal, he can start contributing to it. Even if he is having some shape files in his desktop, he can publish it to portal and he can immediately share with that data with the entire organization. Simply he can go to map. Just you can say these are all the menus where we use for creating the maps. Just say search, add layer from a file. I am publishing a map from my shapefile. Say entire shapefile in the zip format I have that I am opening. I am importing those layers. What it does is, once it imports, it's going to write it to my hosted server. Means it writes it to the enterprise geodatabase that is registered as server managed geodatabase and spins the service for you. Here I can manage a lot of configurable things here. I can configure a pop-up. I can configure my own custom attribute displays. Just say I want to display district names, the states, then some population details. Click copy. Then I can save the pop-ups. If I want to add some of the graphs and other things that I can add here, pie charts and other things. Okay, then I am going to save that map. I can give a title. Just I am going to say Thane or say Maharashtra state. I am giving you a tag for that. Users can search the data or a map using these tags. I am going to save that map. It has been saved to my content. This I can share it as an application also. Right, it has been saved. Now I can share it as an application. Here at present if I want to share it to a particular group, I can do it, or if I want to share it with an entire organization, I can just share with all of the groups and everyone. Okay. If I want to make use of this application in a public place, just I can say embed that in my website. It will give you the hyperlinks in HTML format that you can copy and paste it in your website. The map or the application is ready for accessing through public domain. Then if I want to make it as application, just make an application. I can choose any of these templates for publication application. Just I am selecting a template. Okay, I am giving the Maharashtra as the name. I can give summary what it does actually. Here I am just a part of demo I am giving it. So publish. Then I am closing. Then I am going once again for the contents. My content. This app is published here. Application. This I can check for the sharing, with whom I want to share it. Okay. Or how it looks, just I can view that application here. I can give the various descriptions, or I can edit it somehow if I want to do some modifications, and I can view that application. So a user who is sitting as just accessing a web browser can publish his data and share that entire content with his organization. In a collaborative manner, they can work. Okay, thank you, Krishna.
Thank you. Shashi. So moving on to the next new product which has been introduced at 10.2 on top of as an extension to RGS Server Advanced is the new range of product which have been discussed during other events today, the Geo Event Processor. So what it does, in simple, it integrates your real-time data. So it can be a sensor data, or it can be a vehicle track, or any other kind of big data which is actually bringing in this can actually enable you for plotting onto your maps on a real time. So this actually receives the real-time streams of data from various sensors. It's not only one sensor, you can integrate any number of sensors you want it, and it can even help you in detecting any interesting patterns if you are trying to look in for, because you can even add analysis over the incoming stream data over it. And those results can be sent it over to your viewer wherein you can see in that. So what is this Geo Event all about? It's simple thing, it's information about the thing that is happening and where it is happening. And it can be sequenced. You can get these events in the order of time, and based on those inputs, you can act it upon to this. And that's how you can see you're getting the inputs from various fleets. It can be a defense fleet or a fleet of that, or a social network wherein you can plot it, create those services out of that, and can be published as an application. So these are the where we can receive things. You can receive it from a WebSocket, from a REST endpoint, or through any of the air traffic or cursor on target, different kind of modules where we are supporting. You can even receive from GPX, that basically it supports your GPS services. And then after your analysis, or you want the live feed to be traced it up, it can be sent out you to a feature class, or to an email or an instant message can be generated out of that. So the best part being, when I look into a Geo Event application of this on the vehicle tracking part, so here you can see there are assets which are moving on in the field, and they are continuously streaming in their information. So this information is coming on to my server where it gets processed, and the ultimate output or the service can be given as a web application or as an application viewer, anywhere you can view it. But in between, you would like to see a monitoring that they don't enter into a no-zone area or a sensitive area, you can create a manual geofence over it. So the moment any of those vehicles enter into this particular fence area, it can automatically trigger, it can geo-trigger a message to all of them saying that there's some kind of activity is happening within this particular route. And that's how it's been automated. So let's have a quick demo of this from Shashi, and then we can go ahead. Shashi.
Yeah, as you explained, we can do integrate the Geo Event Processor within our portal also. We can link that application here. Just I can click a flight tracker and just it will open in my window. I have already opened it, and as Krishna said, we are sending some data. Consider this as some sensor or a radar, sending some information about the planes. Just I start sending the data to my server. It will once again it will display or tracking on my map. So I can stop the tracking. We have developed this application for simple demo purpose. And I can stop the tracking, or if I want to start or monitor the movement of those flights and draw a geofence, Just I quickly drive geofence around Mumbai, and if any flights entering that area, just it will alert me. Yes, some object has entered a geofence area. Through that we can send in the messages also. Or if it exits, that also can be triggered. What I want to mention here, show here is you can publish the data, geo-relevant processor data or the sensor to web. Okay, how it happens behind. Just I want to show it here, service designer. This is how we can connect it to our geo-relevant processor. I am going to that particular service. That's how I have configured it here. Some data is coming from my sensor, and I am processing some over here. Some rogue objects is there. I can give several conditions here, and if that rogue object is there, then I can send it as an email or even my messages also, or I can process further. And here I am sending it to my WebSocket. That is in some other server. Okay. And this we can manage it to our own joint processor manager. Yes, this is how the sensor data is coming in and going out to a particular WebSocket. And various inputs and outputs, on the fly we can configure them, and outputs. And using this service designer, we can go on adding them. So for example, I have added a email text out. If I want to put out some other as a file out, just I can drag and drop out that output, and directly I can connect the rogue object to this file out, say I can publish. The service is published and it will start spinning out that processing that data. It is so simple for say day-to-day maintenance or you are monitoring the data or the live data.
Thank you, Sashi.
Thank you.
So that's actually, many of you may think there are a lot of vehicle tracking solutions out in the market. So what this excites you? This solution is an out of box. Just need to install it and you can create this whole services up within no minutes. You need to just configure your input ports and the output port where it has to go in. There are ready to be usable templates which are available which can start giving you the feeds. That's how it is, and it has been tightly integrated with the backend RDBMS which you are using with your RGS server, so that you can maintain even the large amount of data sets and it can have a good playback later. So coming down to the RGS mobile, yes, that's next platform. You can see these are all the platforms which are we are supporting in. There are various apps which have been now made it out of box for all of you to make use of that. And there are many form factors and APIs which can be used in for your consumption. So when you look into mobile platform, this is where from our runtime environment which has come in, these are various platforms which are supporting, and now the best part being the Android can now support a disconnected editing, which was the biggest demand for many of our users. Previously, it was only the Windows which was doing it. Now, Android can also support a disconnected editing for you. And that's where a new app has been provided through our RGS Online, wherein you can download and make use of this app, and this can be straight away configured with your data, where you can start collecting using for any of the GIS features using map, and this is available onto as an out-of-box facility, and it can be deployed onto any of those Android platform. Previously, you used to have a Windows deployment pack. Now you can just straight away download this collector onto your iOS or Android platform and start using it for your mobile GIS activity. Let's look at a quick demo of this, how this collector app can be helpful for your field collection works. Over to Vishal.
Yes, so what we have configured here is a collector app, which we are showcasing on a tablet here. So as I just finished that demo, I'll just quickly run into the theory where how did we make that. So on this particular tablet, what we have is we have published and we have shared an application for collector app for ArcGIS. Now this application has been configured in a manner where a user can go into the field, he could digitize the data, he could save it, he could modify the attributes, and these attributes are shared back to your ArcGIS Online. So what we have done is we have used a ArcGIS Online subscription here. The same app, or you could say same data, is being fetched by my Connector app. Now Connector app is, you could say, out-of-box solution. You can download Connector app for Android or iOS platforms. For Android 4.0 or more, or iOS 6.0 or more. So once you download the app, what you require is an ArcGIS Online account. So you could log in and you could just use your applications which you have made. In this particular application, as I can see for Mumbai, the same data which we are using for buildings or ATM layers. So for example, a user is using this data. Now what you could use is, you could use base maps. This can be your street map or even your imagery. So if I use imagery, I have a Connector app or collect new feature information. So what I could do is, I could quickly digitize a particular thing. Now here is, I've just not done it correctly, but the idea here is a user could digitize a complete map, and then what he needs to do is, he just needs to provide some information such as what is the building of the name, and then he could provide information such as height. So once he has done this, he could use this application and say off. So this enables users in the field to quickly download the app. Whatever is the app designed for, he could go to the field and perform the operations. Now this was about using a Connector app inside a tablet. Now I'll just quickly show up. So we can just use this inside a simple tablet.
Thanks, Vishal. Okay. No. So thank you. So now moving forward, there are many solution products which have been generated by ESRA, specifically meeting a specific user's demands. So think of a port who wants to do a bathymetric study. So ISRI has come out with a product called ArcGIS for bathymetry straight away. So this comes with a data model for bathymetry. You can incorporate your bathymetric data into it, and you can do your dredging, filling, cutting, filling within the entire analysis can be done using this particular solution product. Similarly, we have got in the product for roads and highways. Many of you who would have seen our pre-conference seminar yesterday would have watched the roads and highways functionalities there of this. Of course, there are any other solution products like production mapping and charting, which are the part of this, which you have already seen with the workflow manager yesterday. And similarly, we have a community analyst program for all the education institutes or anybody who is interested to contribute to the content of our GIS. They can be part of this community and this group, and they can contribute the content to them. The content owner you will be the owner of the data, whereas ISRI will be on behalf of you sharing that content with all the users onto required for. Similar to this, that's where this particular thing has enabled us for a lot of business intelligence also, wherein now ISRI is very strongly moving in for integration with all the business systems like Cognos, the EAM, the CRM systems, and now even with simple Office. I'm sure you would have seen our particular exhibition stall on IBM Cognos, the integration of data with IBM Cognos. We have connector for SAP, we have connector for MicroStrategy, we have connector for Salesforce. So think of those BIs which want to analyze their data onto a map. We have got those connectors. If not, please visit our stalls with the Cognos systems, wherein that has an integration for that. So that's where we are going to see in, and that's the roadmap, how we are going ahead. So now we are at 10.2. Very shortly, we are going to announce you 10.2.1. And we are bracing quite ahead for version 11 also. And that will be a really exciting part for that. And that's the new application which you are adding in. I would like you to have a quick demo of that, wherein should be reacting what we are coming up at 11. Volume.
This is a beautiful map with data provided by the city and county of Denver. Zoom in here. You can see nice, smooth, fluid panning capability in the application. This is a very large data set. Very nice. It is a ribbon-based application. And it has tabs. This is the home tab where I provide, or where I navigate, work with my bookmarks, identify features. There's an analysis tab, familiar Python window, model builder, all your geoprocessing tools, accessing geoprocessing services online in the application. Editing tab where I create my features, manage my feature templates, manage my snapping environments, really everything I need to create my data authoritatively. And also, it is a multi-view application. So here are two views that are sitting next to each other side by side. This one on the right is a little special in that it's 3D. Zoom in here one more time. This actually gives us a really great look at the buildings provided by CyberCity 3D with help from Sanborn. Now I can work with these views independently, but also, which is really valuable for comparative visualization analysis, is that I can link them together. Let's take a look at some other views. This is looking west out over Denver towards the Rocky Mountains. Notice this intersection right here where we have 5 streets coming together. And another view of a very unique building downtown, happens to be a courthouse. So, interactive linked 2D and 3D views. If I want to unlink them, I just unlink them. And also, any view inside this application, you can float it, and you can drag it to another monitor for independent use. You can minimize these, or you can just close them. So when I'm introducing ArcGIS Professional people for the first time, I really hear the same 3 questions. And those questions are, the first question is, will it work with ArcMap? The answer to that question is yes. Here's ArcMap running side by side with ArcGIS Professional. This isn't a screenshot, this is really ArcMap, and it's been running the whole time. The second question is, how do I get started with the application? Well, that's pretty simple too. I go to Project, Import, select a map, scene, or globe document, and import it. This takes features from my MXD or my other documents and creates an ArcGIS Professional project. And a project is simply a file where your maps, your layers, and references to your data exist. So here's a map, the exact same map that ArcMap's running that we just pulled in ArcGIS Professional. It's that simple. The other question I hear is, well, what else is new in the application? And there's lots of things that are new, and I've showed you a few already. But what's really important is there's lots of things that are familiar and simplified. If you can use ArcMap, you can use ArcGIS Professional.
That's the part, see what we are coming up with it. Isn't that not exciting, a 2D and a 3D window all side by side, and you're going to work on it. And that's the product we are calling it ArcGIS Professional, which is going to come in and is going to reduce, wherein some of those capabilities where you want to do a quick analysis can be met in with. So keep your hopes alive with the E3 platform, and that's where the ArcGIS Professional is all about.